Hardly Sound is brought to you by Sabrina Q. Mikan, dedicated to highlighting the life stories of musicians and artists who enrich the culture of Austin, Texas. Real Ale Brewing Company. Real Ale incorporates 100% malted grain, domestic and imported hops, and crystal clear water to create unique recipes. Find Real Ale all over Texas at your favorite bars, restaurants, and stores. Real Ale Brewing Company. Handcrafted ales from the Texas Hill Country. Kong Screen Printing. Kong Screen Printing specializes in high-quality art design, screen-printed apparel, and paper prints for bands, businesses, nonprofit organizations, schools, and sports leagues. Kong Screen Printing. Information at kongscreenprinting.com. A generous donation from Brad and Maggie Markham. And the Hardly Sound Alliance.
Here's a list of things I love about Korean culture. Number 1, samgyeopsal, which is pork belly, usually in a lettuce wrap, with some doenjang, which is fermented soybean paste. I like to put a little kimchi in mine. Kimchi is fermented cabbage. We like our food fermented. Leave it alone. Number 2, bulgogi, which is barbecued beef. You know what? The top 10 is basically all food. Number 11, Park Chan-wook, the director of Oldboy. Number 12, Sung Kang, the dude from the Fast and the Furious movies. Number 13, the fact that in Korean, the sound of a dog barking is mong mong, which I contend is more accurate than bark bark. Number 14, the automatic over-the-top niceness that most Koreans show when they run into another Korean. Number 15, boricha, which is roasted barley tea. Okay, I guess we just have a bunch of food stuff again. I say all this because I'm probably going to say some stuff that might make me sound, well, incredibly bitter. I just want to be honest about who I am without the burden of having to do right by the Asian American community. Even if that anger is just a small part of me, it's still there and it's important and I want to express it, but I find myself softening it, pulling back, counterbalancing it with a list of things I love. So if I were to go on a rant about how disgustingly pervasive plastic surgery is in Korea, I find myself wanting to cut the tension by immediately telling you that I'm actually really cool with Korean culture, and that I'm no longer afraid to keep kimchi in my fridge, and that I have a rice cooker, and that I tolerated size popularity. It's the same impulse as when my parents leave a bad tip at a restaurant and I sneak a few more dollars in when they're not looking. I don't want people to get the wrong impression about Koreans based on their brief interactions with me. As has often been the case, I've found strength in something Roger Ebert once said. Asian Americans have the right to be whoever the hell they want to be. They do not have to represent their people. What's great about Sam, Eugene, and Phil is that they don't torture themselves about this stuff. They make the art they want to make, and racial identity is the furthest thing from their mind. So why is it that despite our similar backgrounds, I have felt this pulling apart of myself for as long as I can remember? Find out the answer to that question and more on this episode of Help, I'm Trapped in My Own Head.
Alright, this intro kind of sounds like Hotel California. We've realized that and changed it.
This is such an old version of the song.
I think one of my favorite things about the song is how haunting it is. It's almost like this eerie lullaby. I mean, I think everybody at our age, this sounds so cliche, but you know, like has hard times where they're trying to like find out what they want to do, and you can feel like you're getting lost, kind of. And this song touches on that.
A little loud grungy part, great stuff.
This is also the first song I think we wrote as a band.
So yeah, Eugene had written the guitar part and would just play it a lot at our practices. So when we were first, writing our first songs, and this melody just it came to me, and I was kind of nervous about singing it.
I don't know. I use a lot of chords that kind of they're, I'm not sure if this is right. I think they're seventh and diminished chords. I use a lot of chords that kind of pull on your heart,
And I think at the time of writing this song, I was really into Blonde Redhead. And Kazu, who's the singer, she always has a melodic part with no words.
We recorded this in my room over there, a bedroom. Neighbors didn't really like it, but all is well.
I got in trouble for being loud and stuff a lot.
Eugene wrote the melody, the verse, and then Samantha wrote the chorus and the lyrics. Maybe that was their first interaction of, we are falling in love together. This song, probably not, but.
Yeah, that's totally a Phil thing to say. I mean, probably. It's you definitely have to have chemistry with somebody to be able to write music and to be able to feel comfortable, showing these ideas. But there's something really awesome about writing with somebody else and feeling comfortable enough to feel like you are producing the best thing you could.
I think it's a pretty cool thing that we have going on.
Songs over here. Nice. Let's check the humidity, shall we? That's the little tads swimming around, having fun. Tungara frogs from Panama. At night, they call for the females. It's boom, boom, boom.
Ah, an Asian guy in a lab coat. You never see that on TV.
This is the fish room. Welcome to the fish room, everybody. Swordtails, good stuff. Cyphophorus multilineatus, Cyphophorus nigrensis.
Don't let all this nerd talk fool you. Phil's the clown in this story.
Oh, yeah.
I mean that completely affectionately. See, Roger Ebert died on the day we shot this. I mention this because he was a personal hero of mine. I was genuinely heartbroken, and it's no small feat that Phil and his infectious goofiness gave me some respite.
All right, sir, this will only take a second. Just kidding. I made all the hands and fingers, four toes. You know why?
Because of the Simpsons.
Yeah. I mean, I have an Asian mom. She's Vietnamese. Yeah, I'm half Vietnamese, half redneck. No, I'm just kidding. Half white from Beaumont, Texas. Yeah, they met playing tennis or volleyball. It was a great battle. My mom won, right, y'all?
I think it was when he did this that I really knew I liked the guy.
Just kidding. No, I'm very American. I'm very not Asian at all. I mean, I used to be fluent in Vietnamese when I was well, not fluent for a 5-year-old, but then I just went to American school and forgot it all.
When you're the son or daughter of an immigrant, there's this suffocating pressure because they gave up their lives for us. The stereotype of the Asian parent pushing their kids super hard isn't particularly far off from the truth.
Yeah, she came here in the war, left Vietnam with bombs, and yeah, it's wild. So she's worked really hard in her life, and she has a son that's just all I want to make music and have fun, and she wants me to go to med school and stuff. And I'm yeah, I'm not. Maybe one day I'll sell my soul. But dang it, there we go.
What I love about Phil is that he seems to have some sort of calmness etched into his DNA. He feels this pressure from his mom, acknowledges it, and then metaphorically shrugs his shoulders and does his thing.
I guess I think out of the three of us in Yum, I'm probably the one who'd like to be left alone the most.
Yeah. Now Eugene, there's a dude I can relate to. Feeling totally alienated in high school.
I dropped out of my senior year.
Oh, what made you do that?
Just a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. Parents who weren't around a lot because they were working too much.
Young, my parents weren't around too much. I mean, they were around, but not as much as my sisters were, you know.
Uncomfortable talking about his dad.
What about your dad?
I don't really want to talk about that too much, yeah.
Finally, a normal Asian American.
Drums were my first instrument, and I played a lot in church, actually.
Yeah.
I went to a Korean church with my mom.
Yeah.
Stopped going to church in high school, actually. But
do you still believe, or is it just like you don't like church?
I think it's both. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Never really believed. You know, everyone's like giving their heart out, and
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be leading it, so it felt very fake, so I thought I'd just remove myself from that.
A lot of things about Eugene hit exceptionally close to home, and it got me thinking. Why don't I have any Korean friends? And why does the very thought of having Korean friends literally make me grimace like I just drank some bad milk? And how come whenever I'm out at a social event and I happen to run into another Asian person, there's this moment where we make eye contact but immediately break it, and I suddenly feel like an undercover cop who just ran into another undercover cop in the middle of a drug house? How come sometimes it feels like this is all a performance? There's this thing Koreans do. You call people who are slightly older than you big sister or big brother. It's complicated, and the gender of both the person doing the addressing and the person being addressed changes the word that you use. In Eugene's case, he'd call me Hyung. I mention this because as I left his house that day, Eugene cheerfully said, "Bye, Hyung," in a somewhat ironic but also probably sincere way. My reaction was confused. Like a laugh and a groan at the same time. But I'm better, as I said. As weird as it may sound, the thing that really helped me with being okay with myself was getting a dog. It got me out of my own head, and made me feel whole in a way I never had before.
Yeah, I would love to. I just don't really have the time and money right now.
Yeah. Okay. Good boy. Good.
He's a pit bull terrier mix. He's a year and 2 months. His name's Kogi, which means meat in Korean. He's a sweetheart.
Last time we talked,
Right.
you were like,
Yeah.
I want one, but it's sort of not
the right time.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about it more after that, and I just couldn't resist. I kept coming back to the same one.
Mm-hmm.
And
What was it about him that?
I don't know, he was just really calm, and like he looked really sweet, but it's also a pit bull, and I know those don't get rescued very often. And then I just like fell in love with him.
Yeah.
Went back the next day and adopted him. He like goes crazy when he like sees her, whenever she gets to my house and stuff. So yeah, I can definitely tell that he misses her when she's gone. So.
Does it, I don't know, does it make you happier having a dog?
Yeah, a lot happier. I mean, there's like a few things that are stressful because like he'll mess something up or something, but it's just all learning process and him being a puppy still.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that, and I have the patience and the tolerance to deal with him. So.
My two cultures are so different. Like on one side, it's very Texan, like multiple generations, you know, like we actually like, you know, go back to like the Mayflower. And then on my mom's side, they're very traditional Korean. And, you know, we've definitely found a way to blend that. I mean, not that people made fun of me once we got out of elementary school, but, you know, kids can't help it. And when you're that little, like I would bring like yakisoba, you know, to school and they'd be like, this is like dirty worms or like brains or something. And I'm just like, no, it's delicious. People here, like, right away, they're like, you're Asian. And then people in Korea, they're like, you're white, you know? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I'm both.
I have to say, it's kind of nice that in a lot of ways we have this common base level of experience. It's nice not having to explain yourself. It's nice to talk to people who simply understand.
It's like you have this feeling that it's just like you going through it by yourself, kind of. Or like I could talk to my sister about it, you know? But Eugene went through all the same things, and we'll just be able to like talk about this and be like, wow, you went through that too? Like you felt that too? And
I feel like so much of my energy is spent trying to explain why I am the way I am. Maybe it's because the guy I am in my head isn't the guy that ends up being projected to the rest of the world. All of Sam's stories could so easily be transplanted into my own life.
like I can say all your basic things, but I just really want to speak it because like with my grandma, for example, I know that she's kind of like this like sassy, like she can be a bit of a diva, you know, but like by the time we're speaking our broken Korean and English to each other, that all gets like filtered out. And I just like want to know like how she really is.
It used to be that I couldn't look in the mirror without feeling a sense of disbelief. Who was this Asian guy looking back at me, and why wasn't he the erudite, whip-smart, charming, and absolutely 100% white guy I thought I was? Where was the guy whose heroes were Ira Glass and Roger Ebert? The guy who hunted down every Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movie at his local video store? The guy who pretended to read Dostoevsky at coffee shops? I'm happy to say that has mostly passed. I can look in the mirror now without feeling like there's a rip in the space-time continuum. This is called progress.
My grandma, my head, my knee, she lives there in Sanbon. Mm-hmm. Do you know Sanbon?
I don't know.
Sam visits Korea fairly often.
It has changed so much. I feel like people have gotten a lot nicer in Korea. Yeah. So I remember, being younger there and like not knowing how to speak Korean, and I look a little, white. Uh-huh. And so I would get kind of treated rude, but by now, like, I feel like it's much more open-minded.
I haven't been there since the 5th grade and really have no desire to go back. The strongest memory of my summer spent there is when I went to the corner store to buy some milk. I asked the cashier where the milk was in my stilted, accented Korean. She laughed in my face and asked me if I was mentally handicapped. She even called her friend over and asked me to speak again so she could share how ridiculous I sounded. Now, I'm not one to shy away from personal revelations. I mean, that's kind of the whole premise of this show. But this one genuinely took me by surprise.
Now that I'm talking about it, I'm realizing, like, yeah, a lot of it is rooted in, like, a weird feeling of shame. Like, if I can't speak it perfectly, then I would rather just not speak it at all because of that fear of, like, someone shaming me.
No, I haven't made an effort to relearn Korean. And I've only now realized that it's because any attempts I've made in the past have been met with mockery and shaming. I have nothing witty to say about that. Just makes me kind of sad. May 30th, an email from me to Eugene. I've given this a lot of thought, and I've come to the conclusion that putting down Kogi is just not an option. I know it's overwhelming when you're potentially looking at a huge vet bill to save his life. If it comes to that, then you have options to help you financially. There are credit cards just for veterinary care. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's manageable. Your vet may even be able to put you on a payment plan. If the bill is too much, we'll throw a Hardly Sound benefit concert or something to help you out. Money is not an acceptable reason to put Kogi down. Most of all, do not give up. Euthanasia is just not an option at this point. Even if your vet says it's the only option, they're wrong. Even if your vet says it's foolish to treat them, they're wrong. get a second opinion from another vet. I know it's hard, I really, really know. Just please hear me when I say that you cannot put him down. Let me know if I can help in any way. June 4th, 11 a.m. An email from Samantha to me. So Eugene and I are going down to the hospital to see Kogi around 2:30 or 3. We're also going tomorrow afternoon after 2 p.m. You're welcome to come with us to either. Hope you're having a nice day. June 4th, 4:58 p.m. An email from Samantha to me. Seems we got the next batch of bad news. They're calling the specialist in the morning for advice, but today they pretty much told us he has no hope left. They've almost ruled out him having leptospirosis, in which case that would leave congenital kidney disease. They think we should take him home and prepare ourselves. I guess I'll let you know if there's any change in this after talking to the specialist, but we are planning on bringing him home tomorrow. I wish that good news would come. June 4th, 10:03 p.m. A text message from Samantha to me. Little Kogi has crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Thank you so much for your support through this. It means the world to Eugene and I. Dear Mr. Ebert, I have wasted so much of my life trying to make myself palatable to white people. I don't say this with resentment towards anyone except maybe myself. I have shed my first language and culture like a snake sheds its skin, only I don't find myself bigger or better. In fact, I feel diminished. You were part of my gateway out of my Asianness. I wanted to read the right books and listen to the right music and watch the right movies. Your series of essays on great movies was like my Bible. And that's all you were to me until I began to realize that you were a great writer, one of the greatest essayists I'd ever read. That's when you started being a friend. Your voice, and I mean your real voice, the voice in your prose, not the physical voice that was cruelly taken from you, became my companion. I know you could never hear my side of the conversation, but for a long time, you were the only person I ever talked about movies with because no one else would give me the time of day. You made me laugh and opened my eyes and kept me company. Though I began reading your work as a petty way of rejecting my Asianness, I found instead a teacher and a mentor and a friend who showed me that empathy and understanding are basically all that matter. Instead of making me feel more white, you made me more human. You were one of the best of us. If I am more capable of change, if I am better able to see the good amidst the bad, I owe a lot of that to you. I'll tell you a story to explain what I mean. I always hated being called hyung. It means big brother in Korean, but it's not restricted to family. You say it to any man who's a little bit older than you. It's a sign of respect, but when someone called me that, it triggered a sense of foulness in me. It repulsed me. It made me unreasonably angry. Except one time. There was one time that someone called me hyung, and I was not only okay with it, but really felt the weight and meaning behind the word. There was one time it felt right. My friend Eugene adopted a dog, and he loved him. His name was Kogi. Kogi died very soon after Eugene adopted him. It was no one's fault, just bad luck. I felt the loss deeply, if only because Eugene reminds me so much of myself. If he's like I was at that age, then he's prone to putting up a shell, prone to hiding away as soon as there's any chance of loss. How he's going to manage a loss so profound is beyond me. But if I'm not entirely worried about him, it's because he seems better than me at allowing himself to take risks, to allow people into his life. He has some tremendous friends, and I think he's in good hands.
Go, man.
The night Kogi died, I told Eugene I was proud of him. I told him that he gave Kogi love and happiness and comfort, that he gave him a family, and that that was the best any of us could hope for. I told him he was the best thing that ever happened to that dog. "You're a great Hyung, and I mean it," he replied. I guess I can live with that. Thanks for everything, Roger. Sincerely, Christopher Kim.
Hardly Sound is brought to you by Sabrina Q. Mikan, dedicated to highlighting the life stories of musicians and artists who enrich the culture of Austin, Texas. Real Ale Brewing Company. Real Ale incorporates 100% malted grain, domestic and imported hops, and crystal clear water to create unique recipes. Find Real Ale all over Texas at your favorite bars, restaurants, and stores. Real Ale Brewing Company. Handcrafted ales from the Texas Hill Country. Kong Screen Printing. Kong Screen Printing specializes in high-quality art design, screen-printed apparel, and paper prints for bands, businesses, nonprofit organizations, schools, and sports leagues. Kong Screen Printing. Information at kongscreenprinting.com. A generous donation from Brad and Maggie Markham. And the Hardly Sound Alliance.